What's up guys, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna make a full review out of the SaGa Soul Eleanor's banner. That brings Eleanor a support damage dealer, Julia a fully focused damage dealer, Diana a character that has counter mechanics and fast attacks. Well, SaGa Soul banners are more limited than normal banners and they are kind of similar to UDXs. In JP they had reruns, here in Global we had for just a few units, so expect them to rerun much later than usual. Let's start talking about Eleanor. It's the first style, there's no S style whatsoever, so you get these 3 skills and nothing else. There's no future style on JP as well, but they changed Eleanor in Global and she's much better. Well, she's a mage with the fire element, so you need fire staves. She has a very bad endurance like most mages anyway, so this is not uncommon. Her agility is 93% with intelligence 112. Those are the 2 main status that she has. She even has arrows and bonuses for both. Her will is almost the same as agility, so you can see that she has a focus for those 3 like most mages as well. Her love and charisma are pretty average, nothing that stands out here. Well, moving for passives, the first one is called Energy Recovery 1. On the end of a turn, she gets 1 BP and also recovers HP by around 150. Eleanor is a character that can use skills on farming, so getting BP on the end of a turn is nice because she can skip turns without having to actively attack. Then the second passive is called Mastery 1, Intelligence and Will. On the start of a turn, she gets 1 BP and a 5% buff to Intelligence and Will. 2 status that works well for her. So the damage increases and the resistance to status elements, and the buffs and magical damage increases as well. The mastery buffs don't increase as much, only 5% per turn. With decay and everything, she has an average of 10% most of the time. Moving on, we have High Protect Tension. This increases damage by 20%, but reduces the damage that she receives from enemies by 30%. That's actually very nice. So even having low endurance does not affect her too much. She will not take much damage on boss fights. Eleanor has plenty of different effects, but also gets access to 5 EP per turn, allowing her to use some skill cycles that are pretty good. But only 20% damage increase and 5% buff to intelligence means that her damage output is actually not impressive. Well, I think it's nice to compare her to Global X Emerald, another fire mage, and she has better status, even higher endurance. Buffs her intelligence by 20% per turn, much higher than only 5, although she does not get a will buff. Emerald has a defense boost that decreases damage by 25%, so they both have defense capabilities, but Emerald will do much more damage and has a counter mechanic. Well, for skill, the first one is Flame Naga Plus, an Amplify Overnode skill that has a power 33 mod and heat damage. Also gives critical against frogs. When you look on this, well, 5 EP for 8 power damage is not bad. Actually, we will start seeing more skills like this till they eventually decrease the BP cost even further. On JP there are even cheaper skills with same power, but for today's standards it's actually pretty good, and she can use anytime she wants since she gets 5 EP per turn. Then the second one is called Blaze Naga. For 10 BP she gets an 8 powered attack with 31 mod that also does critical damage against frogs. Having it as a 10 BP, it's actually not as cheap as it could have been, but usually when we see a power attacks, they have 28 mod. It's very start of a power anyway. Since she has 31, may compensate, and it's still enough when you want to bring her for Remembrance Battle because she gets access to 5 EP per turn. So if you want, you can use a normal attack, then Blaze Naga, a normal attack, and Blaze Naga again. The problem is that she doesn't have any other style to inherit from, so it will benefit to have a 0 BP skill to avoid using normals. You are losing damage when you are using normals with a mage. Even through it buffs intelligence, the final output is reduced. Now the third one is called Song of Souls. This is her selling point. It's a 10 BP skill that also costs 3 LP, so she can only use this once. And it has fast, so it will be cast before anyone else. and grants 2 different effects for 10 turns. The first one is an attack boost that increases the damage by 15%, and also recover on the end of a turn of around 150. What's so good about this? Well, when you consider the cost and everything, it's an improvement over what we saw with Alnus. Well, Alnus has a skill that costs 9 BP, 1 LP, and gives 3 turns regen, but he nullifies hit damage. Well, if you need to nullify hit, it's much better to go with Alnus. You can cast this every 3 turns, although you have to rely on using normal attacks most of the time. This is overpowered. Negating hit damage can save even some hard challenges. Eleanor is different. She just casts that spell and it will work for 10 turns if the fight is solved in around 10 turns. It's like having 1 full heal on each character, but shared by 10 turns. Depending on the boss situation, if he uses plenty of AoE skills, this can be good, but it still does not beat the usage of something like Steelblade Light, Steelblade Phoenix, but she is also adding an attack boost on top of this. It's exclusive to Global. On JP, it's a Morale Up, and Morale Up buffs don't stack. Attack boost will stack with other Morale Ups or other attack boosts. But another comparison we can make is against a Spellgirl, because a Spellgirl will be able to heal every turn if she wants to with Telekinesis. That is B power in 27, just 1 mod beyond A power. With double elements, she also gets access to 5 EP per turn, so if she keeps casting Telekinesis forever, you have 10 turns of AoE heal, or even more. So if you have a Spellgirl, there's a conflict of interest here. You kinda don't want to use both together because you need space for other types of characters like damage dealers, other types of support, unless you really desperately need to heal in situations similar to Spiral Tower 150, where you cannot mitigate damage too much, so recovering is an option. But like I said, there are alternatives with Steelblade Phoenix from Rag Robin or Steelblade Light from Mirza, Leon, or Gerard. You'll probably get more options as heal in the future, but if you don't have a Spellgirl, at least this character offers much more, because you can still combo 1 AoE heal with Eleanor to even increase the full capabilities of this. And if you are using the Tortoise formation that buffs Love and Charisma, this heal will go to above 200 and the value increases. Now, Blaze Naga on turn 1 and turn 3 can be used on farming, but her damage output is not even that high, and there are plenty of alternatives for this. So she's not a nuker, but if you are using her on a boss fight, she can at least contribute to damage instead of just relying on support skills. Now, if you're having difficulty with Remembrance battles, Song of Souls is gonna be one of the best sources of utility, since it allows you to heal for 10 turns. Some fights can be solved in 10 turns. That Remembrance battle can be solved in that much. And she also offers this attack boost, increasing your damage output, and then she starts contributing with damage. So in Death Remembrance, she can use Blaze Naga when the mobs are summoned, or she can even use Overdrive to hit the boss with Flame Naga. So there is a lot of utility for the character. It's just that if you already have characters that I mentioned it, and you don't feel like you will switch one of them to use a Eleanor, she loses a little of her value. But the problem is more about the banner. If she had a banner with more interesting characters, she will shine even more. She's still a high SS grade character, the best of her bunch, and will offer a lot of utility for characters that can't take advantage of Song of Souls. Now, it's good to compare her kit to 2 future releases. One is around the corner. Christmas Empress is a very good unit, one of the best ones to arrive. Everyone is expecting her. She has an AoE attack with deep power, sun damage, and she will also recover HP of all surviving allies by around the same amount, 150. And there is another style that JP just got, that is Snowy, that has the same type of attack but with a different element. If you already have a Spellgirl, combine it with one of these, you have 2 characters healing for at least 300 or 450 if you are using the tortoise formation. It's now on your hands if you think you need extra help for survivabilities in the future, or if any of these will suffice. Since Christmas and Brass is around the corner, I believe we can at least wait if she gets released before Eleanor banner expires, since she will stay up till day 20 of December. And the next character is Diana. She's a sport user with problem in the status distribution. She does not have very high STR, stopping on 105%. This is kind of old news. Her agility is 99%. She has arrows and bonuses for those 2 status, so you can understand that it's her focus. And remember that when a character focuses on those 2 status, most of the time it's just a farmer. And Diana is a farmer most of the time. Her other status does not stand out. We have average values for everything here. Endurance and Will on 70s, and Dexterity on 70 as well. That's nothing special. Well, for passes we have Doppelganger's plus counter. When she is directly attacked, she has 37% chance to evade the attack and counters with Doppelganger's plus, that is a slash attack with triple S damage, but it's only rank 1. This skill is not really new, we got it with Simplifies, like 80 has it, as you can see from here. It's a 9 VP attack with 61 mod, so not bad, but because it's rank 1, it's not that big as well. Since it's slash, it competes with plenty of different counter attackers. We just got Seki Sushai that it's miles ahead. We had Mystic Asylus, we also have Gem, and he's an off-banner style that many people will get access to. Gem has this skill called Apathy. It's a 10 BP attack that will scale with rank and counters with the same mod, triple S 61. So he can counter with a guarantee, but he uses inactive skills. Depending on the number of enemies and the number of counters, he just scales even more because of Reinvigorate 1 that buffs his STR and gets BP back every time that he attacks. So the competition here is not helping Diana too much. She does not get anything when she attacks. You are only getting doppelgangers, and there is that. Another character that has a similar mechanic is Gustav from his second UDX banner. And he counters with Wall Cutting Lunge, an A-powered attack that has slashing hit and buffs his STR by 30%. The chance to counter here is higher, 50% instead of 37%. So Gustav takes damage, but he reduces when he counters. But once every 2 hits, he will count. She will only once every 3 hits, although she evades. In the end, it's kind of similar, but Diana will do a little more damage on turn 1, while Gustav will do much more damage as the fight goes because of his STR being buffed by the counter and also having access to Energize that buffs his STR and Endurance, so he will survive better while doing more. So sadly, she is a new character, but in this case she loses to other existing styles. Well, the second passive is called Energy Surge. On the start of a turn, she gets 2 things. The first, a 10% increase in damage and also 3 VP, but this only lasts for 3 times in battle. So the damage increase will work on turn 1, 2, and 3, but the BP that you get will only work on the next turn because you get it after you issue a command. This is important and we'll talk more about this later. And the last is Fired Up 6, increasing damage by 30%. So what we have here, we have only 40% damage increase with a 105% STR character. This is old news. It seems like a character that was planned like 4 to 5 months ago or something. Sadly, it's not much. Moving on to skills, we have Strike Slash. This is a 0 BP attack that has slash and blunt damage and has a chance to stun. Damage is just a little more than a normal attack, but guys, her intelligence is not even that good. It just seems to be there. Well, it can be used on Kazinsi for stun, but we have so many ways to stun with swords. It could be something like an attack that buffs STR or any other type of utility. And the second skill is No Rhythm. For 7 VP you get a single target attack with S power and 44 mod. On 45 it's already double S. So for the coast the skill is actually pretty nice, and she can use this 3 times in a row. But sadly the character itself is not really a nuker, so the damage output will still be limited. Now, the third skill is called Gale Mirage Blade. For 8 VP you get an AoE fast attack that has both Slash and Pierce with B power. If we go back to other characters like there is Bertrand, and he has a fast attack with his S style, call it Abaddon Hands, that has only C power and 20 mod. So you can see that we are getting bigger power while still keeping dual elements. Then we can also compare to Alosis, and Alosis has his Grand Trample that has B power and 21 mod, although 1 VP less. And she can provide help to these characters by being placed in the back line of Magia 5 formation, since she will go first and then they will go second, killing the enemies and recovering BP, since they have the same mechanics. The problem only comes if you are farming story stages, because there you have 3 waves and then she will not have enough BP to cast Gale Mirage Blade 3 times in a row. She will have to rely on No Rhythm on wave number 3. So if your companion cannot kill wave 3 by itself, you have to even bring a third character in order to clear. Besides Alosis, there is another character that can do something similar, and this one is Rick. Well, this next welfare of Rick that we get in this event has access to Innervate, so he recovers 5 VP when he kills. So Diana will help doing damage, and then Rick will finish. Now, you probably want to use Mirage Blade Plus if you want to take advantage of enemies weak to Slash, but if they have different weaknesses as well, he can just go and use Blazing Storm that is hit. Some enemies are weak to both Pierce and Heat, so this combos well. But there is also Bertrand, another character with something similar, so she is a backup helper to this type of characters. Well, in this regard, she competes with ScherBR, because this ScherBR here has an attack that is also fast, has 2 elements, but in his case, it also buffs agility, but has lower power. So, the damage will be similar, but she wins against ScherBR, at least on pure damage, by a small margin, but yes. Another one that we use a lot is Metrock. Metrock has setup of fast attacks with Wind Penetrate, and she can also inherit Gleaming Wave, just so that you can understand the type of systems that are used with this type of character. Well, if you have plenty of the characters that I'm showing you, I don't think that she will help as much, but if you are missing out on some of these, Diana will help you to have some good farming with 2 character setups. There's nothing else to talk about Diana, so because of the way she works, she is a farmer. And not that strong of a farmer, more of a complementary character to help other people. Sadly, her single target cycle is not so good, she barely does damage, there's no single target nuke, and her AoE fast attack is of moderate damage. There are plenty of characters doing much more, even if this skill costs more, but at least it helps in different situations. Sadly, Diana is just good because of access to good skills, but she doesn't have a good future, will only receive a low SS grade in our tier list, and is actually very easy. And because of this, she is actually very easy to skip. Now let's talk about the last character. We have Julia. She's a bow user with water element, just like Liz. She's a hybrid character, and this actually hurts her much more than Liz, since she usually have better status distribution. Julia has focus on dexterity, agility, and intelligence, and none of these status are actually top class, although dexterity is good enough, I suppose, with 110%. Her intelligence and agility combined are not as high. She may even miss some spells against very hard challenges. Her endurance is extremely low, she can take plenty of damage, but that is pretty common in bow users. At least Will is on good enough value, so she will not take as much damage. And the first passive is called Mastery 1 Dexterity and Intelligence. On the start of a turn, she buffs 5% off bolt and also gets 1 BP. Since she's hybrid, she gets bolt status for offensive things or for applying status elements. The second passive is called High Weak Tension, and she gets 20% increase in damage at all times or 35 when attacking a weak target. Fired up 6 increases damage by 30%, so she has 65 when everything works, alongside a 5% buff to Dexterity and Intelligence and 4 BP per turn. Well, I think we can compare Julia to Sparrow because he's recent, and he actually has only one damage passive of 30%, but has the same mastery, increasing 5% for Dexterity and Intelligence, but KO Mastery 1 buffs his status by 10% and even gives him this passive that recovers BP when he kills, so that he has access to other stuff. He is not a hybrid character. Sparrow is actually a full Dexterity attacker that can inflict ailments, so in his case, even though he also buffs Intelligence, it's not for spells. He can use just a normal bow, whereas Julia needs a water element bow. For spells, we have Aqua Viper Plus, spell that deals roll damage with 8 power and 31 modifier that is also critical against frogs. We don't have that many frogs in the game, so I don't know why we have this roll attack like this, but even if you forget about the critical damage, 5 BP with 8 power, it's actually pretty good. Well, we can compare Aqua Viper to something we got recently in the game, that is Waterfall Blade Plus. It's 6 BP, but it has double elements with similar damage output, so it's actually very nice. She can use this 3 times in a row, but there is some problem with the BP cycle since she wants to use other skills first. But on Death Remembrance Battle, she will always be able to use Aqua Viper to help kill the ads that are summoned. The second skill is called Heaven's Thunder, another water spell. This time it deals lightning damage to a single enemy with S power and 40 mod. This is not that good, I believe it's just okay. But since we don't have that many lightning attacks, it works. It has also medium chance to paralyze. She's not the best paralyzing inflictor in the game since Rouge, since the start of the game, has high chance with Shadow Chains, and plenty of other characters have access to that spell as well, so it's just a moderate chance to paralyze. And the last skill is called Aqua Viper Crash. For 8 BP you get a Pierce and Cold attack that is actually a bow skill, so it's going to use Dexterity instead of Intelligence, and deals critical damage against frogs. Well, the skill here is not that good since we just got something with Robin Girl, that is Dragon's Frenzy, that has similar damage and debuffs to things, agility and try to apply stun. So it has much more utility instead of just going for critical damage against frogs. So Julia wants to open with a Dexterity based attack and then switches to Aqua Viper, that is a spell. It still works on Magia Fight Formation, for example, but it seems like she plays more on metal than on auto, because going from AoE to a roll attack means that the first hit deals less damage, the second hit deals more. It won't be enough to clear a wave by herself, but if she's being used with another character that has a better cycle, she may contribute so that these two characters will be able to finish waves. Well, she seems much more like a farmer that will also work, for example, in Remembrance Battle against Death Master, because there it benefits from having access to roll attacks with high power. But besides, I don't see much usage of Julia anywhere else. She's just simply too limited and not exactly a really good character for future content. So sadly, she also receives a low SS grade, and it's just because she's recent. She will just move towards being less and less useful as time goes. But if you need bow users for Remembrance, there's that, but also very easy to skip, and an inferior version of Robin Girl. Now, there is one character that we can compare, and that is Cordelia, new Platinum style. She is actually pretty powerful as well, and comes with Crystal Strike, a triple S roll attack with double elements, and she can even follow up with Ice Lance. Her rotation is good, while Julia has a bad rotation trying to use different attacks first, and even if you want a full AoE attack, you have bigger value with Glacial Storm. Although the cost is much higher, she also applies Guard Down. So Cordelia easily wins, and she's a Platinum. Most people will be able to summon her, and she's much more useful. So back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, hardly. It will only receive a bronze award because Eleanor is a very good character that can offer utility and even damage. But besides her, Julia and Diana offer very low value. Right now they can work here and there, but going for the future, these characters will be outclassed easily and forgotten. At least Eleanor will stay relevant, as I can see the foreseeable future. So if you think that she offers to your party, proceed with caution, because we still have 1 month to go with this banner. We may even get that Christmas version of Final Impress that I said, and she may be enough to help your party. You have to decide upon that. But that is my opinion. What is yours? Please say here on the comments. Did you summon? Are you planning to? I want to hear your opinions. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye!